wait, hold on. If you can stay for 1 second, I have a wonderful word from the Lord for you today. I just really want you guys to grasp this with me for a minute. So I was reading the book of Joshua, right? And so Joshua takes lead after Moses dies, and God is still keeping that promise of taking the Israelites into the promised land. And so I was reading, and it was talking about how, they would later go on to take on Jericho, plunder the city of Jericho, and then plunder the city of Ai. And so I was thinking of their circumstance, the Israelites' circumstances, and how they were, still in the wilderness. They were still sleeping in tents and things like that. And in that entire time of them sleeping in tents, and then God saying, okay, now you're going to plunder these cities, instead of burning the cities down like God commanded them to do, they could have easily just said, okay, well, now this will be our promised land. We're sleeping in tents. We're doing all these things now. We're going to take this land, but instead of burning it down, we're going to keep all this stuff, and we're going to make this our land, but just kill the people. But instead of that, they remained obedient to God. They remained obedient to the will of the Lord to plunder the entire city, and do not take that lesser thing. Do not settle for less, but keep striving toward the goal. And so that's the beautiful thing. And I think about that in our life, in our circumstances as Christians, always in our mission to set out for the goal of the will of the Lord in our lives, the enemy will always present a moment where it's like, okay, well, we'll just settle for less. Just settle right here. He'll bring up your circumstance. You're in the wilderness and you're doing all these things. Just settle right here. God is saying, kill the city, kill this sin, whether that be lust, pride, anger, addiction, sex outside of marriage, whatever that may be. You kill that. He's saying, plunder that, kill that. But the enemy is saying, no, don't do that. Take over the city. Instead of reaching towards the promised land that God promised you and that he's leading you and guiding you in, no, just stay right here. But they remained obedient. Now you might say, how? Well, Galatians 5, verse 16, Paul says this, but I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Now you may say, well, what does walking in the Spirit look like? In verse 22, it beautifully says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, verse 23, self-control. Against such things there is no law. Be patient and apply the things of the Spirit, Galatians 5, 16 through 23, and apply it to your life. Be patient with the Lord. He has a plan for your life. He has promised it to you. Do not settle for less, but keep striving towards that goal with God in the Spirit. God bless.